All right, what's up, everybody? All right, so we at part six of reading the Art of War, Sun Tzu. Again, I'm doing a test. I'm testing my video, but I'll be reading Art of War, Sun Tzu, and and it's already getting better. So, so the experience I can see is getting a lot better. Um, lighting's better now. The We broke it down into nuggets, so this is the next step. 30-minute nuggets where I'll be just reading for 30 minutes, and then this way we can break them down. So it makes it a lot more manageable, I believe. But you let me know if it works better to have them in 30-minute nuggets. The next thing is, and I think that's it. So I think we'll just get started, right? Because we just finished the first one. We're in chapter 3, and right now we on page 69, chapter 3. And let me just come here in the Shambhala books, Art of War, Sun Tzu. And so this is the Art of War nuggets. I'm just calling them nuggets for now. So it's gonna be 30 minutes. I'm gonna be reading for 30 minutes, around 30 minutes. Like I'll just close out the comments at that time. So it's gonna be roughly about 30 minutes. So we're on 69, and this is where we left off at, and we're beginning again. All right. So first of all, welcome for being here. I appreciate you, and let's get started. So the sun. For those who don't know, what we do is we talk about the quote that Sun Tzu writes about, and then there's other generals of that time that expound upon it, and then I'm adding my Bernardarisms to it, like what I think he's saying, and then I read what all of the other generals of his time say. All right, so here we go. So Sun Tzu, and then what happened is I kind of put a little bit of the clip of the Sun Tzu, his line that they all refer to. I kind of put as much as I could put here. So it says page 69. The next best is to attack alliances. So that's what we're reading now. And then for me, I'll go ahead and explain it to you. So now this one kind of starts. Now that I'm looking at it, it says the next best is to attack alliances. Now, so previously it was, so I do have to read the previously. So he says, therefore, it is the superior militarist. Oh, therefore, the superior militarist strikes while schemes are being laid. So, and then that was what we were talking about before. And then, so now the next best thing is to attack alliances. And so for me, it's saying that if you're striking before the schemes are done, you actually attack before they plan a battle. Now, alliances are very important, right? So, there's more to it than just this one line is a nugget. But when they're saying that the next best thing to do is attack alliances, is to find out what other armies will be moved against you, and that we go back into people too, right? So you got people, and let's use the workforce, right? You got people at the job. There's alliances in your jobs, or where you work, or no matter what you're in, there's always alliances in little pockets, so you know that this person is aligned with that person. So if I guess putting it in that perspective, you would then go after the alliances in order to weaken because all of those alliances are going to come to mostly going to be at war, kind of attack you. So if you can't get to their plan prior, you can actually attack the alliances. That's my take on it. The next best thing to do is, if you can't thwart their plan before they create the plan and attack them while they're planning, is you attack their alliances, because they're going to attack you anyway, right? So that's my take on it. That's the Bernardarisms. So Li Kuan says this means attacking when alliances are first established. So Chen Ho says some say this means that when an enemy has already mobilized and is negotiating, strike and overcome them. This is next best. And then so Ming Shi says, if you carry on alliances with strong countries, your enemies won't dare plot against you. So Mei Chin says this means winning by intimidation. And Wang Zi says this means if you cannot completely thwart the schemes of the enemy, you should then work on his alliances to try to make them fall apart. Me and Wang Ji is like kind of on the same accord. Ho Yang Ji says what Master Su said was to attack when you come in contact with the enemy, meaning that when your forces are about to clash, you set up a dummy force to scare them and make them unable either to advance or retreat, and then take advantage of that opportunity to come up and conquer them. Since the neighbors have also been helped by this action of yours, the enemy cannot but be isolated and weak. Now, me and Wang Z, we on the same page, man. But like all these other guys, or whatever, I don't know how they got all of that. Maybe that's what I said. Maybe it's these guys are generals. I'm a general, but I'm not a military general, right? But these guys must have got something totally different out of it, because like okay, Mengshi, kind of is on the same page too. But everybody else, man, winning by intimidation, okay, that's kind of vague. So I guess they could talk to that. But this other one, man, like he's saying, attack when you come into contact with the enemy and your forces about to clash. I don't know. I don't agree with that one. Yo, sorry, my man, Ho Yang Ji. Don't agree with you on that. All right, so let's go to the next one, and let's see who's next. What's the next one? So page 70. Next best is to attack the army. So then after you attack, see, that's what I said, next best. That's why I said Ho Yang Ji was kind of like jumping the gun. He must have read the other line and worded and talked about that, because that's what it sounds like he's talking about. But anyway, so the next best is to attack the army, right? So obviously, not obviously, but that what that means to me is you go to the you attack the neighbor, attack the alliances, and then after you do that, then you attack the army, right? So that's the next best thing to do. So let's make it plain. The first thing is to strike while they are even planning, like before they even mobilize or anything. While they're planning and plotting against you, you come and attack. That's the best thing. You can't do that. You see the mobilizing, you start to attack their alliances, right? And then if that's the case, you attack the alliances, or you can't, then you attack the army, right? So that's my take on it. So Cao says this means when the army is already formed. Okay. So Gia Lim, you see something like most of the time these dudes are on point, man. But right now, I think they just been reading this too long, and because that Cacao, that this means when the army is already formed. That's not what I would expect. Gia Lin, to be good at successful attack, deploying your forces without a hitch is yet another notch down. Therefore, a great warrior emperor said, one who fights for victory in front of bared blades is not a good general. Man, listen, they're losing me here. We've been reading all of this. Yeah, I've been with these guys. Like I've understood them. Now I'm like I'm kind of lost, man. So I don't know if I'm tired because it's 2 a.m, or these guys right now aren't doing their best work, man. I don't know, but that's just me. Because one who fights for victory in front of bared blades is not a good general. Like I said, I don't get that, man. Because his comment is the next best is to attack the army, and it's good to be successful at attack. This is Giolina. I'm repeating it. Deploying your forces without a hitch is yet another notch down. Therefore, a great warrior emperor said, one who fights for victory in front of bared blades is not a good general. All right, again, these guys are real generals, so maybe there's something they see that I don't see. But right now, the last couple of statements, their comments aren't, they're not jiving with me, man. Mayo Chin says this means winning by fighting. Yeah, okay, so that at least that one I got you. Because you got to fight. You got to win by fighting. Okay, cool. One who fight. But he's okay. All right, so I kind of get, all right, now that I'm thinking about Gia Lynn's comment, To be good at successful attack, deploying your forces without a hitch is yet another notch down. Therefore, a great warrior emperor said, "One who fights for victory in front of a bared blade is not a good general." Okay, okay, so now it makes sense. I just like I said, they're generals. I'm a general, but I'm not a general that was in the war 500 BC. So what it does make sense now. So it could be because it's 2 a.m. and I'm tired, but it makes sense now. So what they're saying is a notch down, and that's what he's saying. This is because he's going the next best thing to do. So they're saying it's a notch down, and it's not a good general that fights bare blade. The greatest general fights. The war doesn't even happen. The great general, the war doesn't even happen. He stopped it before it is even a thought of war, right? So he resolved it before even any conflict arise. That's the great general. But when you get all the way down to the point where you're fighting the army, that's the least thing you want to do. All right, so now we'll go to the next one. My man, Master Sun. The lowest The lowest is to attack a city. Siege of a city is only done as a last resort. So now this is the lowest thing you could do. And that makes sense, right? So, because the whole point of all of this is to avoid conflict, right? So going to attacking with the you're attacking an army, you're attacking an army. Now, when you attack a city, you're attacking innocent people. You're causing a lot of calamity. So, that is why that's the lowest thing you could do. Because in war, the last thing you want to do is engaging people that don't have anything to do with it, right? So now you're killing civilians or causing pain and damage for civilians. In a sense of being humane, because they talk about being humane in regards to you bring your warriors to fight, right? So you don't go in and you siege in a city. Now you're dealing with children, adults, elders, and everything like that. And that's one of the least things you want to do, because the goal, I guess, the goal of war is not to wipe everybody out. It's just now from the conquer or whatever conflict you have. It's just to resolve. It's to resolve conflict, I guess, or resolve disagreement, or for other advantageous purposes. But I guess that's the gist. That's my take on it. Like, so the last thing you want to do, like he said, is do a city. But I'll say, because now you're going as far. Now you're not even in a militaristic aspect. You're in a civilian aspect. All right. So that's my take on it. Cacao says, when the enemy has called in its resources and is defending a city, to attack them in this condition is the lowest form of military operation. Yeah. So now, but they were back on point, man. So I must be waking up. So Lee Kwan says, when you garrison an army in a walled city, the officers get stale and the soldiers get lazy. In garrison, I had, because garrison means basically you have people stationed. Like, so you're stationed in your army in a walled city. The officers get stale and the soldiers get lazy. No, my man, you go do you again. This means that when you attack cities and butcher towns, this is the lowest form of attack because there are many casualties. Yeah. And the thing of war is not casualties, it's victory. It's a big difference between victory and casualties. Many casualties does not constitute victory. In fact, casualties does not constitute victory. Victory objectives constitute victory, right? So Wang Ji, soldiers are killed and maimed without necessarily taking over the city. Zhang Yu says the siege of cities and butchering of towns not only ages the army and wastes resources, it also has a lot of casualties. So it is the lowest form of attack. When you besiege a city, then your power will be used up in that. So you do it only if it's absolutely necessary and as a last resort. Yeah, and that's what, and even Sun Tzu said that, as you mentioned that as well. That is as a last resort. I don't know if you can hear that that train, but hey, that's how it works, man. Because it's so late, the sound carries. Plus, I'm not that far from it. All right, so now let's go to the next one. We got page 71. Yeah, Master Tzu. So take 3 months to prepare your machines and 3 months to complete your siege. Oh, your siege engineering. So yeah, that means plan. Take the proper time to plan. Prepare your machines and prepare your siege engine. This is when you're taking over a city because you need time just to get resources, right? Resources together, and when you're gonna siege a city, it's pretty much a long and drawn out endeavor, depending upon the strength and your assessments that you've done prior to um, needing to do a siege of a city. So, in my um, in my opinion, that's just basically proper planning, right? So, take your time and take the ample time because it's going to be sieges and stuff like that are going to be a long process, a long drawn out process, and the longer you're in the field, excuse me, the worse it is on everybody, your whole entire nation and your troops and everybody. So, all right, so let's see what the others say. So, do Mu says he means that it is necessary to take time to really prepare machines and constructions thoroughly, lest many people be injured. As one of the ancient strategists said, those who cannot deploy their machines effectively are in trouble. And Maya Yochin says, if neither intimidation nor intelligence are suffice to overcome people, you have no choice but attack them where they live. Then you must take adequate time to prepare. Yeah, and then so Zhang Yu said, how much time we go? Okay, we good. Zhang Yu said, some say that Master Sun's points here is that you shouldn't get angry and rush to attack. This is why he says take time, not because there is necessarily a specific time. All right, so he's just basically saying he's giving you the example of 3 months as not the specificity of the time that you need to prepare your machines, but the point of it is take your time to do it right before you go and seize the city. And that's even with, like, again, that goes into things with business. Sometimes we rush things, and when you rush things out, um, sometimes it doesn't bear well. So a lot of in fact, like, see all this testing I'm doing. Had I not done this testing, oh man, I found out so many problems just by reading this and like doing the testing that, oh man, if I would have tried to do something live and was doing it seriously, it would have been a disaster. So I'm taking my time. This is what I'm doing. So I'm actually following this, taking not 3 months, but exactly what man saying. I'm just taking more time to prepare it, so I'm more familiar with it because this is something I don't do. So, and one of the things is, I never really was a camera person. Like, so I like to be a background person, right? So, but I'm a people person too. So, either or. But I just haven't done this. So this is something new for me in regards to like me being showing my face and I'm talking on a camera. So I'm actually doing this one. So I'm taking time to prepare before I actually do it like actually do it officially. Well, it's official now, but I'm not gonna be doing it like this where I'm just doing what I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Because all of the testing and everything's gonna be done. So then there's gonna be no more testing. There's gonna be more me focusing on what I'm specifically doing. So that was pretty good, man. So we are 72. Let me fast forward. So Master Sun is saying, if the general cannot overcome his anger and has his army swarm over the citadel, killing a third of his soldiers, and yet the citadel is still not taken, this is a disastrous attack. So he's saying that the general cannot overcome his anger and has his army swarm over the citadel, killing a third of his soldiers, and yet the citadel is not taken. Oh, yeah, it's not taken. This is a disastrous attack. Well, yeah, so that makes you do all of that and you start losing every like, and I guess this is why he's talking about planning in advance. But if you go in there and you're going to try to take over the city and you lose a third of your men, you basically you take heavy losses and you still don't um, take the city. That's a disastrous attack. Like that, that's a failure. That's my take on it. So Cacao says if the general is so enraged that he cannot wait for the siege machines and he sends his soldiers over the walls like a swarm of ants, this is killing and maiming the soldiers. Yeah, that's exactly, man. That's what I said, man. Take your time, build it right. And I guess when he's saying take 3 months, because there, remember, when you're sieging a citadel, you're blocking everything from coming in and everything from coming out. So you're basically starving them out for the most part. There's probably other ways to do it, but I'm just giving an example of you're actually basically you're trapping them inside a city, and they're using the term walled city, right? So you're trapping them inside of a walled city, and you're just basically garrison, which you have all your troops stationed there, and they got to survive and live off the land. Now, any food coming in, obviously the soldiers get it, and then you starve everybody in the city. That's where even the heavy losses from starvation and everything, comes into play. But he's saying is wait for your machines. Now, remember, this is 500 BC, so you're talking about ramparts, like catapults and stuff like that to knock walls down. And he's saying, wait, sit out there for the 3 months. So now I see why they're saying if he gets angry and wants to rush in and send his troops over the wall, you're basically just sending them into sudden death. But if you wait for your machines, they could actually blow the walls down, because the machines back then, they would throw big stones and like stuff like that to basically bombard the wall, knock down the wall, and they throw stuff into the city, right? Like, so you're launching everything into the city. So that's why I said, man, it's a disaster. That's why they're saying there's a lot of deaths, because they're gonna just be throwing rocks and big giant boulders coming into the city, destroying everything inside the walls until they break the walls. But you wait for the machinery to do that, as opposed to sending your troops over the wall like ants. All right, so that's cool, man. So Gia Lin says, just ingratiate yourself with the people while causing inward rifts among the military, and the city will conquer itself. Yeah, ingratiate yourself with the people while causing inward rifts among the military, and the city will conquer itself. Yeah, because once you do that, if you read the Bible, man, what Moses bringing the people out of Egypt into the desert, you see how they got. This is Moses, man. You're getting signs from a Bible perspective. You're getting signs from God. You got food flying in, coming in from you still unappreciative and think that this, and you still attacking him and saying I'm done with this. And so we as people, man, we're unpredictable, man, because we're unappreciative at times too. Because you have food come raining down from the sky to feed you in a desert, and you still want more, and then you wanted to go back to slavery. It's like, man, that's a good example of how you know things can just fall apart quickly because of and that. It's like unappreciative, and to me it's unappreciative in that point. But here I can see chaos would happen, because people will be hungry. And then, you could be like, hey, listen, you guys do this, we'll give you food. If you surrender, we'll give you food. All kinds of crap. You got a bunch of leverage, and the people will start fighting just on that. Just on that. Like, hey, man, get us out of here. They're going to give us food because nobody's eating, right? So that's pretty heavy. Wow, that's pretty heavy. So that was pretty much it for that one. So let's go to the next one. Only 2 people commented on that. And then, so therefore, one who is good at martial arts overcomes others' forces without battle, conquers other cities without siege, destroys other nations without taking a long time. Let's read that again. Therefore, one who is good at martial arts overcomes others' forces without even battle, conquers other cities without siege, destroys other nations without taking a long time. So this is what is great. And that is the thing of fighting without fighting, winning without having a battle, right? Um, yeah, cities without siege. Like you conquer a city without having to do the siege. Because like I said, sieges, like they said, not I said. Like I'm talking like I've been doing sieges. No, I'm saying like I've read and throughout what I've learned, sieges are not cool. Um, Destroy other nations without taking a long time. Because that's when they talk about the swiftness of victory. And don't persistence is not something that is something to be looked as high regard. It's good to be persistent, right? But not in battle, right? So you want to actually your main goal is not being persistent, is to be victorious. So being victorious is as swift and quickly as possible, strategically that you can do. So don't take other nations without taking a long time, because we already even from the last readings we did, taking a long time is disastrous, for economically, politically, from the whole nation building aspect. All right, so Lee Kwan, that's my take on it, right? So Lee Kwan is saying use tactics to overcome opponents by dispiriting them rather than battling with them. Take their cities by strategy. Destroy their countries artfully. Do not die in protracted warfare. Mayo Yochin says battle means hurting people. Siege means destroying things. Ho Yangji says this means attacking at the planning and attacking the alliances, so as not to come to the point of actually doing battle. This is why classical martial arts says that the best of strategists does not fight. One who is good at laying sieges does not lay sieges with an army, but uses strategy to thwart opponents, causing them to overcome themselves and destroy themselves, rather than taking them by a long and troublesome campaign. Yeah, man. So sometimes it is important to let things burn themselves out. Like even in the gist, because a lot of times um, people destroy themselves, right? You ever hear that thing? You let them destroy themselves. Uh, like give them a rope to hang themselves with, which is, I'm not a big fan of that statement, but it's the same. It's the same thing. Um, so Zhang Yu says a skillful martial artist ruins plans, spoils relations, cuts off supplies, or blocks the way, and hence can overcome people without even fighting. One way that a city can be taken is to attack a place they will be sure they want to save, as to draw the enemy out of the city stronghold to come to the rescue and then take the city by sneak attack. And all right, let me run that again, man. I'm just gonna reread that again. A skillful martial artist ruins plans, spoils relations, cuts off supplies, or blocks the way, and hence can overcome people without fighting. Like that. One way that a city can be taken is to attack a place they will be sure to want to save, so as to draw the enemy out of the city stronghold to come to the rescue, then take the city by sneak attack. Okay, so that's just another angle. So Dumu says when the enemy is in a condition that you can take advantage of, if you do not lose the opportunity to crush, if you do not lose the opportunity to crush them as if they were dry rot, then it will not take long. Just the wording of that threw me off a little bit. Let me just take a look. I think we're gonna stop there. Yeah, we'll stop there. What we got? 29 minutes. Yeah, I think we'll. Yeah, let me just push it. I'm always gonna push, man. So we're gonna just read. We'll read the next one, and then we'll stop there. All right. So it is imperative to contest all factions for competitive victory. So the army is not garrisoned and the profit can be total. This is the law of strategic siege. So you're saying so it is imperative to contest all factions for complete victory. So the army is not garrisoned and the profit can be total. This is the law of strategic siege. Okay, now I get it. So basically, all factions. So you want to challenge anything that's any uprisings, anything against you. You want to definitely challenge it and for a complete victory. Basically, so you because of garrisoned armies that's stationed for a long time, is automatically you lose. That's why they use the term profit because it's a heavy expense to garrison troops in a siege, right? So if you can be complete in your victory by rooting out all factions, anybody that dissents or goes against you, and do it quickly, your profit can be total. Because the faster you do it, if you take over a city quickly before the city's destroyed, everything that's intact in the city is yours, right? And then also the people or your troops that are there, they're not losing. Your country's not losing money sending in resources, which they shouldn't be sending in resources because your army should be taking the resources from the enemy. But all of that plays into that. So I agree with that. That's my take on it. So Cao says, you do not fight with your enemy, but you do win completely, establishing victory everywhere, not garrison armies and bloodying blades. Mao Yochin says complete victory is when the army does not fight. The city is not besieged. The destruction does not go on long. But in each case, the enemy is overcome by strategy. This is called strategic siege. In this way, you do not dull your army, and your profits is naturally complete. So Zhang Yu says, if you do not fight, your soldiers will not be wounded. If you do not lay siege, your strength will not be exhausted. If you do not continue long, your resources will not be used up. This is how you establish yourself completely victorious over the world. Thereby there are none of the ills associated with garrisons and violence, and there are the benefits of a prosperous country and a strong army. This is the good general's art of strategic siege. All right, cool, man. So we're gonna stop there. And so we'll stop there, and we're on page 74. So we're gonna stop on page 74, and we'll pick this back up. But hey, man, this was pretty good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. In fact, let me see. Look here. Let me know what you think in the comments, man. But I think that was pretty good. And again, so 32 minutes, pretty good. These are nuggets. Again, let me know what you think about the nuggets. If you think it's a good idea to go forward, I'll keep doing the nuggets until I see otherwise, and then we'll take it from there. So right now we're just doing nuggets. Reading, I'm testing. So, but my testing is almost done because just minor things I got to do. But I wrote down all of the notes, so I'm pretty good. And that's it. Definitely appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time for part 7. I'm assuming this is part 6, right? Yeah. So I'm assuming this is part 6. So I'll see you guys part 7 or whatever the next part is. All right. So listen, take it easy. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And listen, have a blessed day. All right. Take care.